Welcome back. There is a fine line between selfies and self-absorption. But are we raising our kids to be narcissists?
Liz Collin gives us an eye-opening example and the one thing experts say we should be teaching at home.
Our experiment? See how we experience something out of the ordinary. Say a Ferris wheel for the Final Four. We didn't watch for long to see it was a selfie. Most chose to capture the moment.
Oh, it's totally irresistible. It's a guilty pleasure.
Can we see your phone? Let me see how many selfies you guys have on your phone. At the Minneapolis Sculpture Garden, we found a younger generation with phones filled.
You always take a selfie because you look cute.
With the same thing. But does this me? Do you ever worry about what's this doing long term?
No.
Mean narcissism wins?
First, it's important to understand what narcissism is.
A therapist at Minnetonka Counseling, Dr. Katie Holter, cautions against the damage such a label can do. She points out that narcissism is a personality trait on a spectrum where researchers have identified some key characteristics.
They include things like arrogance, superficiality, feeling superior, being more prone to aggression, needing constant admiration.
And since it plays a part with our personality, Holter reminds us those develop into our 20s.
As we age, we forget what it was like to be an adolescent and young adult.
Think back, and we were likely self-absorbed then, too.
Our main goal is figuring out who we are and connecting specifically with our peers and our social group. That becomes our priority.
So what role does social media play? Holter says at this point, that's up for debate. Research shows Instagram and Facebook don't cause a narcissistic disorder, but if someone already has it, those same studies suggest these mediums only make it worse.
The one thing research is showing is that individuals with narcissistic personality traits do use social media slightly different than others.
Narcissists may use it more, have a lot of followers, and self-promote perhaps more than anything else. And they take more selfies and wider body photos than others.
But before you start scrolling through your Facebook friends or start criticizing your own social media use, it's important to recognize that that in and of itself is not an indication of narcissistic personality disorder traits.
Holter says the most telling narcissistic characteristic is the one that's missing: empathy.
Empathy is our ability to understand and experience the feelings of another person.
It's what she says parents, teachers, and coaches should focus most on, showing compassion for other people.
I feel like it's a cultural thing, so it's not just about taking a picture, it's your life.
Flipping the lens.
It gets to a point where you just gotta stop.
To see what's missing on the other side. Liz Collin, WCCO 4 News.
Holter says if people want to explore these areas in more depth, it's best to contact a mental health provider. To learn more about narcissism and empathy, visit Minnetonka Counseling's website. I think that's a really interesting.
It was. I know, especially when it's said it seems like everyone who's young is self-obsessed, but they also pointed out we probably were like that when we were younger,
right?
As well. But yeah, fascinating.
Very interesting.
Stay with us. Coming up next, a basketball camp that grew too big for a local man's backyard. His story and more coming up next.